Yes,
good weekend.
It is a trend, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
everybody wants to do that. It looks cool.
Right. Back in the day, it was just those fold up chairs that had the the woven bands of
God, the ones that would
plastic
rip all the
that
time.
would rip all the time.
That aluminum, that bad metal, the thing would break.
Right.
Take them to ball games too.
That in the backyard and the charcoal grill, and that was considered your outdoor living space. We've come a long way from that for sure. Good weekend. Fish fry delivered on Friday night over at Holy Trinity, the Serbian Orthodox Church, not far from our neighborhood. And it was just a good catch-up weekend. Both John and I said last night we're tired, but good kind of tired, like we got some things checked off the list.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like, I can't picture a better sports weekend. It was just so unbelievable. I mean, with the Cardinals and the Blues, we went 10 days in St. Louis without a St. Louis team losing. I mean, if you factor in the Battlehawks, City SC, the Cardinals, and the Blues, and then you have all these unbelievable national events. Gary Woodland, the emotional win yesterday, overcoming brain cancer and winning on the PGA Tour and weeping on the 18th green with his wife, hugging her to death. And then the unbelievable finish with UConn and Duke. God, how can sports get better?
Yeah, it was a good weekend for you. There was everywhere you turned your head, there was something interesting, exciting, and something that gives you something interesting and exciting to talk about. So on the air, so that's good stuff. And even those of us that paid far less attention to what was happening in the world of sports this weekend than that, it was a good one. Kind of chilly on Saturday, but still sunny and bright and springtime in St. Louis. It was good.
Yeah, and how about today? How gorgeous it is. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm this 80 and near 90 degrees in March, though. You can take it in June, but you can't take it in March? Yeah, I like it when we have just a little more temperate weather. But we're going to talk to Gary Frank tomorrow about this because it turns out there's something kind of interesting brewing when you look at these huge temperature variations we're having. And we need somebody.
You want it down to the 20s again, huh?
Nope, I don't want it down to the 20s. But how about we have a little bit of time in the 70s?
I don't even want 50. Oh, 70s is great, yeah. I don't even want the 50s. I don't want to wear anything over a short sleeve shirt.
Just put your shorts on and go for the rest of the year, and you're good.
Yeah. All right, why don't we break? We got a big opening monologue headed your way, opening dialogue headed your way, and then a great guest list today. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis, at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpets sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
Your dentures no longer fit? Maybe you're missing a tooth or several teeth. Visit Dr. Bowen for Simply Secure Dentures and Dental Implants. The cutting-edge, high-quality dental implants that replace all the teeth in your mouth, and it starts as low as $7,000, not the $35,000 that others charge. If you're only missing a few teeth, Dr. Bowen can permanently replace those with something you don't have to take in and out of your mouth. Learn more at simplysecuredentures.com and get the care you need and the teeth you want at Bowen Dental Care or simplysecuredentures.com.
I'm Mark Cantor. Here's why you can count on Cantor Injury Law.
My name is Michelle. I'm a litigation paralegal at Cantor Injury Law, and you can count on Cantor because we are smart, honest, and hardworking.
I'm Kevin Glenn, and a partner here at Cantor Injury Law. You can count on Cantor because we make your cause our cause.
No fee if no recovery. Please visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or call us at 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Are you retired? Are you thinking about retiring? Who is helping you with retirement? Might be time to check out the show When Retirement Happens, hosted by Kevin Lloyd of Legacy Wealth Advisors. Saturday at 1, Sunday at noon on the Big 550 KTRS.
Carney, Buck.
On the next Carney Show, it's the triumphant return of John Carney. We'll also talk to the Bartlett Bee Whisperer. What does that mean? Well, it's worth a listen. Join us here right at noon, and we'll see you then for the next Carney Show.
John Carney, Julie Buck. Weekdays at noon on KTRS, the talk of St. Louis. And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS. Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
All right, thought one. So I've never known a parent who doesn't want their kids or who don't want their kids to have a better life than they have. We want them to be better educated, to be better in sports, better in school, to have better jobs and have more financial security. If I'm wrong about this, please text in right away. And that leads me to this. Allegedly, the parents of a famous baseball player are stealing their son's money. His name is Alex Bohm. He's 29 years old. He plays for the Phillies. He's from Omaha, Nebraska. So in recent months, he started to notice something as he reviewed his financial affairs. He says that his parents, who managed his money, refused to give him access to his accounts. They froze him out of 4 accounts. And they converted a sizable amount for their own use. By the time he got all this information, his parents had already transferred millions of dollars. They are denying it. He has a 1-year deal right now with the Phillies at $10 million a season. Bohm's lawyers are asking for at least $3 million in damages, at least. I mean, I can't imagine this life. Let's go back in his lifetime, and I'm just trying to put it all together. So he went to this Catholic high school, and we all know what being a sports parent is like. It's all the dedication. You deprive yourself of sleep, social life, because we want our Johnny or Joan to have fun and be a part of a team. We are chauffeurs, chefs, and coaches. And then Alec Bohm makes it, and his parents steal his money, allegedly. It is one of the craziest things I've ever heard, that a parent would do this.
Yeah, but it's gonna happen more and more and more. I was talking to somebody who has some crossover in their legal work with sports agency stuff and does some contract work in that area. And there's a growing number of attorneys who specialize in this that are quietly being called by agents all over the place, because when you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds who can't manage this amounts of money, whether it's a family member or agents or other people coming in, they want a piece of that pie, and how they get it isn't always above board. And the young people who don't have the sophistication to sometimes know what's happening behind the scenes, it's ripe for corruption, I think.
But a mom and dad who were a part of this, that took him to all those little games and made him little snacks. And now, when he gets it, they steal the money.
Yeah, it's the same kind. I mean, we've seen it in Hollywood and other places too, right? People get themselves in bad financial situations and they get to the money that's closest to them, even when it should belong to their kid. But it's going to be hard to bend that relationship over time, I would think. Interesting story. In other news today, is powerful synthetic opioids, stronger than fentanyl. Did you hear that? Stronger than fentanyl. Now showing up somewhere that at least I did not expect, you guys probably not either. School wastewater. Testing at several schools, including in the St. Louis region, has detected something called nitazines. It's an emerging class of opioids so potent that even trace exposure can be dangerous. Here's what makes this especially unsettling, at least for me. See what you guys think. This isn't coming from arrests or overdoses. It's been picked up in the background in routine wastewater monitoring. In other words,
so kids are just drinking water and they're getting this?
No, it means that people are taking it because it's showing up in wastewater, right? When you test the wastewater, you know that. So that's how you detect sometimes what's being taken. Public health experts are saying nitazines increasingly being mixed into other drugs, often without the users knowing, making them even more dangerous. Of course, fentanyl has been what has dominated headlines. This is a new wave. It's quieter, it's harder to track, and in some cases even deadlier. At the same time, schools and communities trying to get ahead of it, using data like this to intervene earlier before tragedy hits. But it raises a tough question, I think, for parents, really, and for all of us. If something can be this powerful and can be present without obvious warning signs, are we actually seeing the full picture of what kids are facing now and what's really out there? It's an interesting. We haven't heard the last, I think, of this nitazines, and it's something that, I mean, I guess I'm glad we have the technology to be able to test the wastewater, to be able to know that something is afoot that needs to be looked into, but it's an interesting time.
Ooh, brutal. Gosh. All right. Thought two. The only thing that matters in sports is, did you win or did you lose? When it comes to coaching, is, did you keep your coach or did you lose your coach? So bottom line, SLU had a win this weekend. Josh Schertz is staying. But you talk about some drama. He did meet with NC State. And to many who are not in the coaching profession, this seems like a mortal sin, morally corrupt. And I see their point. You signed your contract on Sunday and you're meeting with another school 6 days later. You can't date after you get married. However, I think we have to realize the coaching profession is like no others. Like, they can sign a 6-year contract and get fired a year later, or they can sign a 6-year contract and leave a year later for another school. As Bruce Hornsby would sing, that's just the way it is. When this was happening, I called Josh Schertz, and what's going on, Coach? He goes, well, I did meet with them, and no offer was made. So I texted this out. I tweeted this out, and I immediately got a call from Dr. Shavitz wondering what the blank is going on. And it was like stunning and shocking to a lot of SLU fans. We thought they were going to lose their coach because the money was going to be a lot greater at NC State. But he's here. He's a great guy. And I think we're going to have to get used to this. If you have a really good coach at a mid-major, be prepared. Somebody's going to try to pluck him. And eventually it will happen with Josh Schertz if he continues to be a great coach.
Okay, so thank you so much for helping clear this up. This is on my list of questions to get to with you at some point today, because I'm incredibly naive and don't really understand the process of this obviously, because I thought, phew, we were reporting and touting and saying we've signed the contract extension. Yeah. So does that just mean nothing?
It means nothing.
Kind of like having a long-term lease for your television station that you just signed and moved into new.
That'll be my next point here coming up. Yeah, but no, they mean nothing. There's a buyout. SLU would get paid if he were to leave NC State, but yeah, they mean nothing. You can go. It's crazy.
So we're just that is the world.
And let me just say one other thing is I put on the initial tweet. There's ridiculous NIL money at NC State, and coach called me back. He says, would you mind, and he said it in a real polite way, would you mind removing the word ridiculous? So I removed the word ridiculous. I retweeted. And then I got a couple of texts right away saying, it's not ridiculous NIL money anymore because you removed it.
Wow, people are really paying attention to your tweets.
Well, everybody's
That's
paying
good
attention
news.
to this shirts thing. Everybody's so worried. It's not me.
For sure. Interesting article recently in the Wall Street Journal. And, I'm going back to my consumer reporter days and Contact too, Frank. I can't help it at certain times like this. But car buyers kind of facing a new kind of sticker shock, and it's hiding in plain sight in the window sticker. It's called the destination charge. And I looked back in some paperwork in my files when I was reading this article in the Wall Street Journal. Sure enough, we paid it at the time. I didn't realize it. But it's a fee that's supposed to cover the cost of shipping a vehicle from the factory to the dealership. In recent years, that charge has quietly climbed, now averaging about $1,600 per vehicle. Is that just me, or that's a lot of money, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And that's according to car shopping site Edmunds. Altogether, Americans paid more than $26 billion with a B in destination charges alone in 2025. They're noticeable. Most makes and models do it. Automakers say higher fees reflect higher transportation costs. So with gas prices where they are, I guess we can expect these to go up even higher. And that includes fuel, shipping, and tariffs. But some dealers and analysts say the charge has also become a quieter way to raise the overall cost of a vehicle without increasing the sticker price. Adding to the confusion, the fee is usually the same no matter how the car travels, meaning someone who lives 10 miles away from a factory may pay the same destination charge as someone who lives 1,000 miles away. And because it's listed among dozens of other line items in the window sticker, many buyers just don't notice it. The final price adds up. By the way, just checked, average price of a new car right now is hovering right around $50,000 in the United States.
The average price of a new car is $50,000. Wow. I told you one of my car dealer friends said that most of the people, or he said like 85% of the people that buy cars, when he looks at their financial situation, should not be buying that car. Mm-hmm. And there's living proof with 50,000. I mean, gosh.
Yeah, and I'm sure these destination charges are just not going away. It's just we have to kind of build it in there. But it is funny, right? We look at the actual sticker price, and then you sit down and go in and to pay, whether you're paying in cash or whether you're financing on a car, you're like, wait, how much is it actually going to cost? But that's how it goes.
Ooh, it reminds me of Putty on Seinfeld when they were trying to buy a car. When she was dating Elaine, it was going to be like a little lower price for Jerry when he bought it. And then they broke up, and then the price went way up, and he was charging him for everything.
Or we're going to watch Fargo this week with Tariq Khan. That's the movie we're rewatching for Back to the Future this week, and the William H. Macy role as Jerry Lundegaard and all the different fees he was adding, trying to get people to pay for those, clear coats they didn't want and stuff in the dealership.
Do you think that movie is a ringing endorsement for the IQ level in that area?
No, but I mean, it's just you put, as a lot of people have said. I mean, it's just a lot of people are the same, regardless of you get 100 miles outside of any city, and they're not necessarily slick and sophisticated. But doesn't mean they're dumb. They're just in this movie. It just seems to highlight that.
There were a few. All right, thought three, some quickies. DTF St. Louis, so stupid in so many ways, morally horrible, weird. But there's one element that has me sticking with it: the mystery. I really want to know who committed the murder. And I'm not sure. We're guessing, but I don't know. Real quickly, I was mesmerized this weekend by the games. Patino versus Duke was magic, except the ending. The UConn-Duke ending was magical. Seeing Illinois get to their Final Four was just so great to see. And hearing Brad Underwood saying, "This is my dream job." I hope he feels that way when Kansas is open too. But no, I love Brad Underwood. I hope Illinois wins it all. Okay, little TV news. This is kind of interesting. Nobody is happy at Channel 2 or Channel 5 or Channel 11 about the potential merger. One company, Nexstar, will own all three. Nobody wants that, mainly because we want to keep our respective identities. We don't want people to lose jobs, and that's inevitable. But hold on. A federal judge named Troy Nunley in California has granted a temporary restraining order against Nexstar, so it has paused the $6.2 billion acquisition. So Nexstar is prohibited from taking over Tegna Properties for 14 days or until further court action. Nexstar must keep Tegna's assets. As you'll look at the end of a Channel 5 newscast now, we don't have Nexstar property anymore. Maintain separate management and prevent the sharing of competitive information. And nobody can be fired during this time period either. A hearing from the preliminary injunction is scheduled for April 7th, but I had a young attorney look at this and said, that looks like it's got a chance here. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think a lot of people who work in local TV right now are hoping that this judge's actions in this case end up ruling. If you look at the larger communication merger scenarios around the United States, it does not look like they will probably prevail long term, according to people I know really high up in the communications legal avenues. But
maybe also too, if the Democrats get the House, which they likely will, that will help the chances.
Right, but also look at how ineffective Congress has been at getting anything passed.
Yeah.
In the last year, so you'd need it to happen awfully quickly, and I think that's the challenge for everybody right now. Listen, I'm with you 100%. I think competition is good. I think that
nobody wants
mega everything in cases like this takes away from the ability to provide a variety of different perspectives from a news gathering perspective. But looking at where everything is going, both nationally and in these local markets, I think it's probably unlikely that this one judge is going to be able to end it all.
Well, if they can keep delaying it. Mike Bush is getting out in August. Yeah, just keep delaying this thing.
That's right. Keep it tied up. There's one time in life you want to see things really tied up in the courts for as long as they possibly can be. Potpourri, a few things for me. We had, I just have to call it out, a delicious casual dinner out at Biggie's on Saturday night. Steak sandwich on garlic bread, the white Russian dressing. We ended up buying an extra pint to take home because I want to eat that in my salad every day this lunch. It was just a really delicious, great experience. The owners delivering your food to you, working as hard.
We had them in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, and a young guy and part of the family legacy there, and he's out there serving all of us when you're there. It was really good. Last night, delicious dinner at the new Taco Buddha in the Botanical Heights neighborhood, only 4 minutes from our house. This could be dangerous. But it was such a fun juxtaposition, Frank, between these two restaurants. One, classic St. Louis casual to medium casual dining at Biggie's. Everything on the menu and the surroundings haven't changed for a long time, and that's why people go there. That's what you love about it. Another, Taco Buddha is sort of the ultimate hipster experience. You order at your table, you use your phone. It's all very streamlined, very out-of-the-box taco menu, nothing that we've had in the past. Both very delicious. Really recommend both, but it was kind of fun to have old school St. Louis on one night and new school St. Louis on the other.
Yeah, Taco Buddha is really good, but I like the old school idea of just ordering with a waiter.
Yeah, I like both. I have to say, both delivered what we needed both nights. Marjan Kamali's The Lion Women of Tehran, giant thumbs up book recommendation. One of those books that really stays with you. And right now, with what's happening in the world, it's particularly timely. It follows two childhood friends growing up in Iran, their lives pulled apart by class, politics. Reminds us all of just how crazy things have been in Iran for the last going on now 40 plus, really 50 years. It's all about friendship, courage, what it means to be a strong woman, what they call a lion woman. I loved it. It's emotional, powerful, absolutely worth your time. Again, Marjan Kamali's The Lion Women of Tehran. And if you haven't finished up the limited series on Hulu, Love Story, chronicling the very public romance of John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Kennedy. Bring your Kleenexes to the final installment. We know how it ends. I just didn't expect to be quite so emotional when it ended. I loved the series, but the finale is something else. I got to say that.
Okay.
There's some heart-wrenching moments, I think, in the finale for sure.
All right, let's take a short time out. Shalonda Webb when we come back.
Premier Heating and Cooling, oldest and most experienced American Standard customer care dealer in St. Louis and St. Charles, family-owned, member of the Better Business Bureau with an A rating, and ready to serve you with a highly trained staff of technicians who are ready for busy season, right? Everybody wants to have the company come out this time of year to make sure, and you should, to make sure that your air conditioner is ready for what St. Louis is going to throw at us. And if the spring is any indication, and we already have set records for heat in our city in the mid to high 90s, I'd say our air conditioners need to be in the best tip-top shape they've been in a long while. We've had some foreshadowing of what we can expect. Same thing with the furnaces. We gave them a lot of workouts this entire winter season, and if you limped through and you just knew it wasn't up to par, now's the time to have that conversation. PremierHeatingCooling.net, 636-916-1122.
And now, KTRS weather.
We will slip into an active weather pattern later this week. Numerous rounds of rain and thunderstorms on the way. But first, it's back to near record heat again. Mostly sunny, breezy, unseasonably warm this afternoon, up to 86, which would tie today's record from 1986. Partly cloudy, really mild overnight tonight. The Tuesday morning low only 64. And then right back into the 80s again tomorrow. 85 for the high Tuesday. The record right now sits at 87. Spotty showers and thunderstorms Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday morning, with more waves of wet weather to come later in the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers on the Big 550 KTRS.
Great story about Michael Baldy and Baldy Electric. One of the wives called up and said, "Hey, we need an electrician. Call Michael Baldy." And the husband said, No, I can do it. Well, the wife overrode the husband, called up Michael Baldy at 314-968-9999. Maybe she checked the website first, baldyelectric.com. So Michael Baldy came out to the house. While he was at the house, the husband says, "Well, since you're here, I've got 3 or 4 other jobs for you." It turned out to be an all-day affair. They took care of everything. And so, no, the husband couldn't get it done. Good thing the wife called Baldy Electric, and now the whole house is fixed because of one simple phone call to Michael Baldy and Baldy Electric. Indoor, outdoor, brand new commercial building, an old Victorian home, it doesn't matter. Michael Baldy and his team of electricians will take care of you. 314-968-9999, Baldy Electric, or baldyelectric.com.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Spring is in the air, my favorite time of the year. I'm buying and selling, of course, cars and motorcycles daily. I like to buy a few cars a day at this time of year, and I like to buy them directly from the owner. We carry only hand-selected vehicles, and I like to meet the people they come from. It's as much a people business as it is a car business. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, I'll even come to your house to purchase your vehicle, especially if you have more than one to sell or even an entire collection. We're always on the hunt for super clean, rare, and unique vehicles. I'll even buy everyday cars if they have low miles and are exceptionally clean. Hop on my site, mastercarsinc.com, and submit what you've got to sell. We buy, sell, and trade every single day.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit mastercarsinc.com to get more details. That's mastercarsinc.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-551-7672.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-551-7672. That's 800-551-7672.
Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
All right, welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. She is Shalonda Webb, 4th District Councilwoman, a woman I've known for a long time. She's raised some great kids, and now she is possibly bringing back Jamestown Mall. First of all, give us a little insight onto what this mall once meant to the community.
It was a community hub. I remember when I moved here in 1998 from Texas, Port Arthur, Texas. We moved into the Barrington Down community shortly thereafter, and that was the place that we went. That was the place where, high schoolers went to hang out and have a place to go to the movies. Young couples like ourselves that didn't have family went there to just walk around and stroll with their baby. And so it was a community hug, and everybody, when I talk to them, they have a story about, oh, I had my first kiss at Jamestown Mall, or, oh, my first boyfriend and I met at Jamestown Mall. So it was a true community hub. It was a place where people can actually go and do retail shopping. And now there is nothing. There was one gentleman recently, I spoke with him, Mr. Washington, and I was knocking on doors, and he was saying, I don't even have a place where I can go and safely travel, because he's elderly, to shop. Outside of now there's the Ross, but an actual location where he can get a nice suit or anything like that, there isn't anyone anymore in our community.
So you held a public meeting to hear from people, and you heard a lot of remembrances.
Yes.
And it sounds like, and we all have that feeling, when you drive by something that you used to remember being so vibrant and alive, and just seeing it sort of being there, it kind of gets you down. And I think that was part of the sentiment that people shared as well.
Definitely.
Is the public and the community as concerned about whether it comes back exactly as retail space, or do they just want to see something that looks like it's contributing to the economy of the community in that space?
So our community has been hands-on from the very beginning, from the demolition, from before I was able to get it demolished, with the help of Senator Brian Williams, who helped me secure funding at the state level. But before we even did that, the community was engaged, and they have real concerns, but realistic expectations. We're not expecting it to be a mall ever again. That's just the state of malls in the U.S. in general. If my grandmother, who's 90 years old now, is ordering online, there will never be malls like they once were. But that does not mean that opportunity at Jamestown Mall, 144 acres, could not have some type of commercial and retail. It just will never be a massive mall as we historically know it.
So what would it look like? Like best case scenario, your dream?
So my dream in the community's direction for me is that we definitely want a multi-use facility. And when I say multi-use or mixed use, some people say, that's got to be some housing. It has to be some retail. It has to be some commercial. It has to be some workforce. And very important, it has to have something for our youth. Many people talk about the negative of our youth, but in our community, we don't have a movie theater, a skating rink, a Top Golf, a Bounce U, any of those things for our youth. And so, as my grandmothers would say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Mm-hmm. And so we want to address that directly. And just as important, one of the things that we've been needing in our community is healthy food options. And although we're looking at alternatives from like renewables, from like rustic roots and forms in that area, we're also looking for a grocery store. And the first things that a grocer would tell me is that we need to densify the population. And so I think this development will be able to check all of those boxes and bring those needs for the community.
If you're just joining us, Shalonda Webb, County Council member, talking about Jamestown Mall. Of course, just as you have pointed out, it was just one of those landmarks, right? When people are talking about where do I live near Jamestown Mall, and you knew exactly where it was. In other, Crestwood Mall, this is not unique to Jamestown Mall. We have many situations in St. Louis where the mall spaces are being redeveloped. Chesterfield Mall, same thing. Mixed use seems to be where things are going. And youth sports facilities seem to be where the business is, because we have a lot of kids who participate in youth sports. You and Frank know each other because your kids participated in youth sports together. Is that, do you think, where the financial security is going to be in the future, is having these former mall spaces be homes for things like ice skating rinks and soccer fields?
I do believe there's a place for that, and I believe that Jamestown Mall will be ideal. In certain communities, certain sports thrive than others. We have in Creve Coeur, we have the soccer parks, right? We have in certain areas they're doing more of select baseball and things of that sort. I do believe our community is primed to be able to provide a facility of just that sort. As Frank and I know each other from youth sports, one thing that we want and we will spend money on is our children. And we have traveled all across these United States, from East Coast to the West Coast, from Michigan to Texas.
Because your boys play basketball together?
Our
is that
boys
right?
play basketball on AAU Sports Circuit, and also our boys went to Westminster Christian Academy together. And so we know, just like a place in Indy, I remember going to this place. I can't remember the name of it, but it was just all like farmland, and then it was just this aluminum metal building in the middle of nowhere.
Like
What's
a
the name of it?
zillion courts. Yeah.
It was a zillion courts in that place, and you didn't do anything but go to that court, watch basketball all day, go home. Go to the hotel,
Pay
take
for some
a nap.
expensive concessions.
Yep. Come back, and then you had your whole family. What you had the player, you had your spouse, and you had your other kids. It was a weekend. You did it every weekend for months throughout the summer into the fall. I go to that place now. My husband recently traveled to that place, and it has been an anchor. It's a school district, it's homes, it's shopping, it's hoteling. It is that is the catalyst for development all around it. And I can see that replicated at Jamestown Mall.
Boy, that would be great.
That would be phenomenal.
All right, got to ask you about your kid, Sterling Webb, who is a terrific football player at Mizzou, starter last year, defensive tackle, now headed for the NFL. He's on the cusp of getting drafted, becoming a pro. What's this like for you, and where is he right now?
It's truly exciting, but you know Sterling, he's very nonchalant, very low-key. So you're not going to get too much reaction from him, but he's a hard worker. He has been, for the last 2.5 months, he was in Texas at Built For It, a training facility, and he did his classes online because he'll be finishing up in May. But he did that in preparation for Pro Day at Mizzou. And at Pro Day at Mizzou, it was plenty NFL teams there. He did exceptionally well. He did a broad jump of about 9.6. He did a vertical jump of, I think, 36 as well. He did his 40 run was 4.87 for a defensive liner that's 290 pounds.
Yeah.
We thought
Here's
he was
the best
pretty
thing
fast.
about him. Many kids, as soon as they get their NIL money, go out and waste it on expensive cars. I remember there was a Kevin Coleman's camp at Principia this summer. I said, "So what are you driving?" And he pointed to this. And it wasn't a terrible car, but it was an old car. I thought, now that's a smart kid. He's saving his money.
He does. He has not splurged. He may, Sterling, he likes to play a few video games here, but he hasn't splurged at all like that. He's been very conservative with his money and investing his money, because this is an opportunity that his brother, who graduated with your son, Steven, did not have. And he played AAU basketball and was all-state running back and all of those things. So he didn't have the opportunities. And Sterling's taking this very seriously to prepare for his future. So he's excited. He's probably going to go on as a free agent, if not drafted. He's excited.
He'll be in an NFL camp. He will get his shot. There's no doubt about it.
I always tell him, don't let them outwork you. They can have more money than you, know more people than you, but you do not let them outwork you. And that's one thing we live by. You remember me screaming at the basketball games.
Very animated.
We played to the buzzer sound.
That's right. Well, great to see you. Congratulations on all your success. We wish you nothing but good hopes for Jamestown Mall. We know it's going to be a success one day. Thank you so much, Shalonda Webb.
Thank you so much for the both of you for having me.
We'll be right back after this.
Can I get serious for a moment? Something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is my front yard and taking care of your front yard. Because when you drive by someone's house and it's full of weeds, you think to yourself, oh man, it's very, very simple. You know how much I love to pretend to be a yard dork. You know what I use? Fertilome. I go to fertilome.com and I type in my zip code, and a whole host of local independent lawn and garden dealers show up. I buy the crabgrass preventer plus lawn food. It's the spring application. I get it down on my yard as soon as possible, and that greens up my yard and keeps the weeds away. So it makes me look like I know what I'm doing. But really, all I'm doing is getting Fertilome and putting it on my front yard. And that will take care of my yard for many, many, many weeks, and it go a long way to having the greenest yard in the block. So this spring, you want to green up your yard and get rid of the weeds? It all starts at Fertilome or fertilome.com.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for The Only Facial. I was driving around the other night and I was so excited when I saw another The Only Facial logo in Creve Coeur. That's their newest location. Now, The Only Facial, you might have heard about it. Every single treatment includes 11 different steps. It's one price, $125, and that includes your gratuity. But for that, you're going to get dermaplaning, you're going to get an enzyme peel, therapeutic massage, extractions, LED light therapy, a treatment mask, hydration. I mean, it just goes on and on. All 11 steps, every facial, and they have several locations. Like I said, the Creve Coeur one is the newest. But here we go. De Pere, Sunset Hills, St. Charles, U City, Clayton. You will love this. I'm telling you, it's the best thing going in St. Louis, and now there's one near you. And if you're always struggling to find the perfect gift, we have the solution for you. 3 ways to shop for a gift card. You can order online and pick it up at The Only Facial, visit a store, or you can send your gift online. All happening at theonlyfacial.com. The Only Facial. Go to theonlyfacial.com for more, and you'll be on your way to better skin with a healthy glow.
This is Mariah, 3rd generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Tune in weekly to the Frank and Jill Show to catch the new Illegal Eagle segment featuring renowned attorney Travis Noble of Travis Noble Attorneys at Law.
Every week, Travis will join the show for an entertaining segment focusing on legal stories.
And news right here on the Big 550.
Experience the power and passion of Mahler's Fifth Symphony with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Music director Stéphane Deneuve leads this monumental work, paired with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra's first performances of Carlos Simon's Double Concerto Suite, featuring Grammy-winning violinist Hilary Hahn and cellist Seth Parker Woods. Don't miss this breathtaking concert, April 10th, 11th, and 12th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
The St. Louis Chess Club is a newly expanded 30,000 square foot state-of-the-art chess center featuring world-class tournament playing halls, classrooms, library, and casual play spaces for everyone who loves the game.
But it's so much more than a place to play.
It's where champions are built on the board, in the classroom, and across the community, with a mission to bring the game to everyone from all levels, with membership starting at just $15 a month.
Discover the excitement, the challenge, and the community of chess at stlouischessclub.org.
Welcome back, Frank and Jill Show. Time check 10:50 already on a busy Monday morning here at the show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Connor McCarthy here as well. You guys, when you drive down Kirkwood Road, you recognize the business. You know it like the back of your hand from all the ads through the years. Of course, Patriot Sunrooms, been doing great work in St. Louis for a long time. Well, believe it or not, well, all the great stuff that's been there is still there. There are all kinds of things happening at Patriot now Builds Sunrooms that you may not know about. Dan Head from Patriot Builds Sunrooms is here. And Dan, Frank and I were talking about it a little bit earlier in the show. People consider their backyards and their outdoor living space as part of their homes in ways that they just never have in previous decades. Is that fair to say?
So true, so true. In fact, a couple of close friends are local real estate agents and have told me recently how it's almost expected now that when showing a home that somebody's going to head quickly to the back door to look out into the backyard to see just what the outdoor living space is like. And obviously that's music to our ears because that's what we do.
So, Dan, let's say somebody out there is listening that has like Jill Farmer, ridiculous kind of money, and money is not an object. What?
Billions and billions.
What would be something kind of cool that, hey, look, I have some money. I'm going to make it look great. What could you do?
So there's a lot of things, but what strikes me or what comes quickly to mind is, the heat and the sun in our area. I always say St. Louis has the greatest weather in the country for 3 days a year. The rest of the time, when you want to use your backyard, it's either too hot or too cold. And so we have some awesome options, whether it be a cover that's built over your patio or deck that picks up the flavor of your home and can also have power shades that with a remote control you can raise or lower these shades that can create a ton of privacy for the patio as you're using it, but also it blocks the UVs. So it allows you to use the space. If you have a ceiling fan out there, it's just a bonus. And those kinds of things fit almost every property.
And that's what is so cool, and where the sort of the breaking news on this is people have known about, kind of the formula of Patriot sunrooms for a long time and adding that 3-season or 4-season room onto the house. But in the last year, Patriot Sunrooms has become Patriot Builds because Luna Builds, which is one of the best and most premier outdoor living construction companies in our area, has partnered, and now you guys are all under one roof. So if somebody comes in and says, well, we already have the Patriot sunroom, or we have that version, but now we want the incredible outdoor kitchen.
Yes.
Now we want the waterfalls. Now we want to have that beautiful part down at the bottom of the hill that hasn't been used for anything. We want the bonfire with the natural stone wall built there. You guys can do it all.
We can, and it's so great because the design reps, which are our sales team at Patriot, is so well coached. They're so good that they've learned a lot of the products that Luna Builds has, and they're able to offer to their past customers or new customers, these new bolt-on items that fit seamlessly, utilizing the power of Luna Builds. I have just some amazing craftsmen over there that have been doing it for a really long time, and it really can bring up the level of what somebody already has by adding these features.
So what's smoking hot now? I mean, what's your hot seller?
The power shades are really hot, and they're so versatile, and they can be sort of adapted to a lot of different spaces. We also build a bunch of outdoor grilling centers. There's such cool things as it relates to gas grills, side burners, outdoor refrigerators, and
Pizza
even kegerators.
ovens.
A lot of pizza ovens. Those are usually built out of stone, so it lasts forever. It becomes bulletproof, and it's just something that we find people using so often, as long, if they have the space and it's covered or not. And then a lot of outdoor fireplaces. We build a ton of those that are super well adapted to the Patriot products.
You've given us, you showed me some pictures, and I got to see when I visited the showroom recently. And I have to say, they look like just all over St. Louis County, St. Charles County, even in St. Louis City. People are putting what I used to think of as only like magazine imagination kind of backyards in, and they're just absolutely beautiful. So if somebody can dream it, or even just has a little inkling, you guys can absolutely build it.
So true. And what we really pride ourselves on is being able to be the one point of contact. We have such a trusted group of installers that are our own employees, and so we can take the idea and really flesh it out from a design perspective and take the project from that point all the way through completion and punch list. And that's why we have, over 10,000 happy customers. It makes a huge difference.
I'm texting my wife as we speak. I said, Patriot Homes is here. I'm interested. I'm waiting for a response. Let me ask you, are you
But that's true. You guys love, you have a beautiful house, but it's that outdoor space. You guys love being outside. Why not?
So let me ask you, a lot of the really great builders are always it takes so long to get it done. Like if somebody were to call you guys today and say, hey, we're going to do this in our backyard, how quickly could it get done?
So, we would typically set the lead and come out and meet with the people at no charge and start to hear their ideas and what they are looking for, quickly turn that around within a couple of days and be right back with them. We do like to take advantage of momentum and keep things going. And then we start marching the project toward a permit pretty quickly. That's usually 6 weeks, maybe 8, before we could start breaking ground. And we can find a way to fit projects into our schedule. We have a pretty robust team, and so it just kind of depends on what the project is, how the municipality is helping us get through the permitting process. But it's usually 6 to 8 weeks before we can get going.
So, Dan, before we let you go, I know a little bit about what makes you tick, but seriously, you had a wildly successful business with Luna Builds, and when many, many decades, owners of Patriot Sunrooms said, we're ready to retire, to get out of the business.
Yeah.
Why did you decide that you wanted to partner up when you already had such a successful business?
I grew up right next door, basically, to Patriot. I knew of the business my whole life. My wife, Elisa, and I would see Pat on the commercials for many years, but I wanted to expand the footprint of what we do to create more opportunity for the longtime employees that I've had at Luna Builds, to help the existing longtime employees of Patriot. I felt I could, there was a real opportunity there, and also to create a space for my children to hopefully grow into this business. And one of them, Alexis, is already in there, and she's doing amazing stuff.
Mike Robinson, a fellow advertiser, wants to know if Dan Head went to DeSmet.
Did not. Kirkwood High School.
Okay. Gotcha.
Good choice for sure. Hey, you guys, we're so happy to have you be able to come talk about what great ideas are out there. We look forward to more interviews in the future. Dan Head, Patriot Builds Sunrooms. Call for a free design consultation. Write this number down, 314-822-3232, online at patriotbuildsstl.com. Lots more coming up in the Frank and Jill Show after the news. Don't go away.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
Spring is finally here, and it's time to plan your next trip with the travel experts at AAA Travel. Where do you want to go this year? AAA Travel makes vacation planning easy and stress-free. With early season deals on cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, and family vacations. Spring and summer trips are booking up quickly, so book early to lock in better pricing and availability. Visit your local AAA travel office or go online, AAA.com/travel sale.
Baseball season is here, and the perfect place to watch the game is high atop the Hilton St. Louis at 360. 360 offers you a bird's eye view of the Cards while enjoying your favorite ice-cold libation and tasty treat, featuring inventive takes on sliders, fish tacos, pizzas, and more. So before, during, or after the downtown baseball game, you've got to be with the in-crowd at 360 atop the Hilton at the ballpark. 360-stl.com.
Traffic reports when you need them. This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis.
Streaming live at KTRS.com.
Depend on it.
From ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. More violence in the Middle East as Iran now strikes an Israeli oil refinery and is threatening more strikes against military bases in the region as well. A spokesperson for the Iranian Foreign Ministry now says U.S. proposals to end the conflict are excessive, unrealistic, and illogical, and that the country's leadership has not sat down for official negotiations with the U.S. But that's not the messaging we're hearing from the Trump administration.
The president says that he's having talks, that he's talking to some kind of moderate leadership. It's not clear who it is. Neither he nor Marco Rubio, who's on Good Morning America, have made clear who that person actually is. And if Iran doesn't come to the table and make agreements, it's not clear the people he's talking to are capable of following through on any promises that they seem to be making.
ABC's Ian Pannell. It comes as more U.S. Marines arrive in the region amid a growing buildup of American troops in the Middle East. Gas prices are hovering just below $4 a gallon on average because of the conflict. TSA officers are starting to receive paychecks today thanks to a memorandum signed by the president late last week, but at least one agent says it's not enough.
It's not enough at all. We're only going to be back paid for the paychecks that we've missed. Moving forward, we don't know if we're going to get paid in another 2 weeks.
Record numbers of TSA staff have called out sick in recent days after weeks of being forced to work without pay. ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott has where negotiations now stand in Congress.
There are still thousands of DHS workers who are going without pay, including civilian employees with the Coast Guard and with FEMA. The Senate and the House have now passed two competing proposals. Democrats are still demanding significant changes to immigration before fully funding DHS. But instead of staying here in Washington to work out their differences, lawmakers have now all left town for a 2-week recess. It is worth noting that they are still getting their paychecks.
You're listening to ABC News.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-551-7672.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-551-7672. That's 800-551-7672.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is KTRS News. I'm Sobe Bay. A portion of Interstate 270 in the Metro East was shut down overnight after a crash involving a wrong-way driver. The crash occurred shortly after 3 this morning on eastbound 270 near the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Police say a passenger vehicle traveling westbound in the eastbound lanes struck a tractor trailer. The driver of the passenger vehicle was taken to the hospital. Their condition remains unclear. The driver of the 18-wheeler was not injured. I-270 was shut down for several hours and reopened shortly after 6 a.m. One person is in critical condition after an overnight apartment fire in South St. Louis. Firefighters were called to a burning building along the 7,000 block of Nottingham around 12:30 this morning. Firefighters rescued one of the occupants who was trapped. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Thousands of demonstrators gathered across the St. Louis area on Saturday as part of the nationwide No Kings protest. Demonstrators held these events to speak out against the Trump administration over several issues, including the ongoing war with Iran and immigration policies. Crowds assembled at several locations, including the Hawks Nest overpass in St. Charles, the intersection of Manchester and Weedman Roads in Manchester, and the Tam Avenue overpass above I-64 in Midtown. The St. Charles County Council is expected to vote tonight on an ICE partnership. KTRS's Jill Enders has the story.
The proposed agreement would train some St. Charles County police officers to work with federal authorities on immigration enforcement within the county. St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman and Police Chief Kurt Frizz will hold a news conference tonight ahead of the county council meeting. They will give details on the county's longstanding work with federal immigration authorities, how this agreement would further train county police, and explain their support for the proposal. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florists, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. Ameren is testing new technology to help meet the growing demand for energy across the Midwest. This technology gives grid operators real-time insight into highly localized weather data and the precise operating conditions of transmission lines. With this real-time information, Ameren officials say operators can safely move electricity to when and where it's needed most. Now, this market report is brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement, Saturday mornings 9 to 11. Wall Street right now, Dow Jones is up 297 points to 45,476. NASDAQ up 15 to 20,963. S&P 500 up 20 points to 6,388. KTRS Sports. SLU basketball coach Josh Schertz has taken his name out of the running for the vacant North Carolina State job. Schertz says he did interview with the Wolfpack opening after recently signing his extension with the Billikens. The Blues open a 4-game road trip tonight in San Jose against the Sharks. The Note will be trying for 5 consecutive wins. KTRS weather today, sunny and warm, high of 87, which would break the record set in 1986 of 86 degrees if we get there. Tonight, partly cloudy, overnight low of 63, and tomorrow, partly cloudy, high of 85, with rain possible tomorrow night. Right now, we have 75 degrees. The time is 11:07. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
And now it's time for Success St. Louis Style, brought to you by the St. Louis Chess Club, building champions in the classroom and the community. Online at stlouischessclub.org.
And welcome back to the Frank and Jill Show. Frank Cusimano and Jill Farmer. We are here till 12 o'clock. He is the definition of success. He won the Hart and the Norris in the same year. And only one other player in the history of hockey can say that. That's Bobby Orr. Chris Pronger was the second pick in the draft. He basically did it all, winning a Stanley Cup and becoming arguably the greatest Blues defenseman of all time in the process. And he is now an author. The name of the book earned the true cost of greatness from one of hockey's fiercest competitors. He joins us now. Chris, good to be with you. How are you?
I'm doing great, Frank. Thanks for having me.
So why the book at this stage of your young life?
I couldn't let my brother be a best-selling author. I needed to try to challenge myself. You know what? I've been asked over the last, 12, 14 years since I retired. I've kicked tires on writing a book and just started building out this speaking platform about 2.5 years ago. And it just felt right that this was the time to try to build on top of that and try to have make an impact with people and challenge people. The book is kind of a part memoir, part life lessons learned from my life, my career, and a lot of things that I've implemented over the years to kind of get to that next level and find success. And so I walk people through that, through my shoes and the decisions that I had to make, and many of the moments where I had to bet on myself. And really the book will challenge you. It'll push you to try to achieve new heights and try to get to that next level.
Hey, Chris, it's Jill Farmer here. I bet becoming a self-help author was not on your bingo card 20 years ago or so, but we're glad you did. And as you said, it's if you just want to hear the sports history of your incredible success, there's a lot there too. But I happen to love a lot of this, a lot of the life coach stuff in there, including your success formula. How did you come up with this? And I know you're out speaking to groups about this, and how are they receiving it? How is it impacting people's lives?
Yeah, I think that's the best part about what I'm doing now is seeing the impact it has on people and how they take to it. And really, it's just about taking ownership and accountability. You set standards. You lean into adversity more. I think a lot of times we're so scared of failure. As athletes, that's all we do is fail. Very seldom do we actually achieve success and greatness. Only one team gets to win a championship at the end of the year, so the rest of us fail. Mm-hmm. And so that, coupled with ownership and taking ownership of your life, your career, et cetera, and you add all those pieces together, standards plus adversity plus ownership, and that equals success. And so you try to walk people through that. You put people in your shoes, or I put myself in their shoes, and just try to walk them through each step of it and how standards are the foundation for everything that we do. And then how adversity is where we grow. And I look at adversity as a gift. Everything in my life that I've achieved and come through has been on the other side of adversity. And so really kind of walking people through that, and then taking ownership and accountability for our actions, our decisions, how we prepare. And then at the other side of that is the success and the fun part of getting to the top of the mountain, and how that is just the beginning. You've now achieved success. You've now gotten to the top of the mountain. Well, now you've just found the template, which is that code you talk about. And now it's about going all in on that because it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Chris, all of us see the finished product of Chris Pronger. He's a happily married man. He's an author. He's a broadcaster. He's a Hall of Famer. He's done all these things. But if you go back a little bit in time, it wasn't a bed of roses. And I want to take you back to when you first came to St. Louis. You were traded for the immensely popular Brendan Shanahan by Mike Keenan. And I can distinctly remember being there on a Saturday when a young Chris Pronger was actually booed by Blues fans. And you told me once that, you tell me what Mike Keenan would say to you initially after that trade.
That was obviously a key turning point in my career. 2 tough years in Hartford, struggled mightily under the weight of expectations and pressure of a big contract and, second overall pick. And it just, I was ready. I felt physically, but from a mental perspective and a maturity perspective, probably wasn't. And then, that trade, I was excited for the trade. Didn't come in the best of shape, as we all know. And then, things spiraled from there. And having gone through all that struggle, strife, failure, tough moments, tough conversations, and then really kind of using this code, setting standards for myself and creating that foundation of being the hardest worker in the room, getting rid of the victimhood mentality that I had in blaming the fans, blaming the coach, blaming my teammates, blaming everybody around me, but not accepting responsibility myself. And ultimately, once I did that, my fortunes started to change. It also helped that the eyes of the fan base went to Wayne Gretzky, who we acquired later in that season. That kind of gave me the space to kind of find myself and find my game again. And then ultimately, as I started to learn all this other stuff, my game started to get to that next level, and people started to see why that trade was made and why what I was all about and what I could do for the team in itself.
So, of course, everybody knows about your incredible hockey career, but you stepped away from professional hockey now a number of years ago. Many people may not know about all of the varied things you've done since then. Well-Inspired Travels, the Journey Whiskey, the Pronger Group, Chaos Holdings. Talk a little bit about some of the life lessons learned and the meaningful things that have happened in this part of your career.
Yeah, I think, I didn't want my identity to be all about just being a hockey player. And I think, we talk about legacy. I talk about it in the book. I talk about when I speak, what type of impact can we have? But it's also, what type of legacy do you have off the ice? I didn't want to be Chris the hockey player. I wanted to have more to my name and more to me than just that. And so throughout the course of my career and then now post-playing career, it's about really trying to invest in myself and invest in trying to grow my brand and with respect to various entrepreneurial businesses and leaning into people that I can help with my story and all the rest of that. And just, I didn't want to just kind of sit back and golf and do whatever. I wanted to be able to use my experiences and my life lessons to help those that want to level up and become difference makers in their own right.
And you weren't able to do that right away. I hate to keep bringing up negative, but it adds to the recovery and how great you've been since then. But I can distinctly remember being at your house after you'd retired and you dealing with the concussions and just how brutal it was for you to get over it. I imagine like the hero in this story has got to be your wife, Lauren, who's also an author.
Yeah, absolutely. She was obviously gave me the space and the time to try to get healthy from, the career-ending eye injury and the concussion issues that I had from my playing days. And then, when somebody supports you like that and helps you get through those difficult moments, you want to also lean into them and help them. And so we started helping her with her travel company, Well-Inspired Travels. Now, as you said, she's a best-selling author with her book Superwell and the community that she's building with Superwell and how she's helping people, and I think we have an opportunity and a platform to be able to help people grow and develop and get to that next level. And I think we're both investing in one another and trying to help one another grow not only our businesses, but our impact within our communities.
So you were so beloved here when you played as a hockey player, but the fun thing was wherever you played, you were vilified. And I can distinctly remember being like in San Jose for a playoff, and right during a national anthem, like a quick little split-second pause, I hear somebody yells, "Pronger, you suck." What was it like always being the villain?
I relish those moments. It's better than being booed on home ice. When you've had a taste of both, you relish those moments when you're on your opponent's ice surface, being booed by everybody in the building. And I welcomed it with open arms and frankly, really enjoyed those moments. I knew I was doing my job when I was being booed by the opposition's fan base and loved to get under their skin and we had that love-hate relationship. So it's been a lot of fun.
You can thank Frank later for bringing up all these incredibly low moments in your life and career.
Yeah,
no, but it makes for good stories. It really does, for sure. You and your beautiful and incredible wife could have lived anywhere post-hockey, but you chose to put your deep roots down here in St. Louis. Why? And do you still think that was a great decision for yourselves and your family?
Yeah, I think we had moved around a fair amount during my career, obviously leaving St. Louis, quick stop in Edmonton, Anaheim, and then ending in Philadelphia. And so our kids were getting to that age where we wanted to plant roots and go somewhere, and no better place than St. Louis. Obviously, how they treat the alumni there and the types of people in the Midwest. And obviously, my wife's from St. Louis. So knew what the community was all about, knew about the schools and minor hockey and just all the things that are available to families in the area. And, I think that's obviously the biggest draw. And then really, the school systems and all the rest of it. It just was a great fit. I'm a small town kid and I'm not big on traffic. So everything is within a 15-minute drive of my house. So I kind of like that. I like quick access to everything. And obviously the people, the people are the biggest draw. It's such a great community and so friendly and welcoming that it was a pretty easy decision to want to come back to St. Louis.
Especially because you wanted to keep watching Frank Cusimano on the news.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly right. There it is. Now you're digging into it right there.
Got to ask you about the team right now. I think it's 11-2-2 since the All-Star break. What are you seeing? Why the transformation once again at the stretch run of a season?
You know what? Number one, I think they're healthy, fairly healthy. They're getting great goaltending. They're playing very well defensively. And then they believe in one another. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, takes a little bit of health. You're seeing Dylan Holloway find his game at the right time. Robert Thomas has really clicked that line. Holloway, Thomas, and Snuggerud coming back from the Olympic break has been outstanding. And so that top line has been scoring at a feverish rate. And then they're getting, offensive production up and down their lineup. And then on the back end, you're seeing Logan Mailloux come, working his way through, gaining valuable experience and coming into his own. And, you move guys out, you have young guys come in, get an opportunity, and you get to see what's down in the minors. You get to see what some of these young draft picks can do. And that youthful enthusiasm, they're playing a fast, very structured game, which I think is why we're seeing the type of one-loss record over the last 15 that you just alluded to.
So the name of the book is Earned, The True Cost of Greatness from One of Hockey's Fiercest Competitors. We do want to remind our listeners that there's going to be a book release event. It will be hosted by the Blues on April 14th. Featuring a moderated panel and a meet and greet for VIP ticket holders. And you can buy the book at retailers like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, and Simon & Schuster. Chris, we know this book's going to be a big success like everything you do. We really appreciate your time.
Love it. Yes, thank you. And we also, if people want to go to chrispronger.com, I have an events page for a number of other events that I'm doing. I've got some book signings and some other events that throughout the St. Louis area. So looking forward to seeing everybody and appreciate the support. And I'm excited for everybody to read the book. I think they're going to really enjoy it.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you soon.
Love that
is Chris Pronger joining us.
That was a fun conversation. Yeah. And obviously you guys have a long relationship with each other that you knew it was perfectly safe for you to bring up some of those times that other people could have gotten prickly about.
I'm telling you, when he first got here, Jill, he didn't repeat the Mike Keenan, who was like probably the most hated guy after Stan Kroenke in the history of St. Louis sports. When he traded for him and Brendan Shanahan got off to a good start and Chris was struggling, Keenan would have Chris Pronger in his office and he would say the following: "Do you know I traded Brendan blanking Shanahan for you? You better perform." Like a 21-year-old has already got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Oh my gosh. And he turned out to be maybe the best defenseman we've ever had.
So do you think that Keenan was more hated than Bill Bidwell?
Well, I tell you, we got a Mount Rushmore going there. We got 3. We need to add a 4th. That's a great question for our St. Louis listeners right now.
Yeah, Royal Banks, Missouri, text line 84126. Of the 3...
Goodwill, Keenan, Kroenke, we need 1 more.
Most disliked figures in St. Louis
question.
sports history. It will be interesting. Chris Pronger just said something I think really powerful. There's no place better to plant roots, particularly for a family, than St. Louis. And I think that's what our friends over at McKnight Place have known for a very long time. The Gatesworth communities, which includes the Gatesworth, McKnight Place, Park Provence, some of the most recognized names in the St. Louis area for assisted living and memory care. They're here because they are St. Louis based, St. Louis owned, St. Louis managed, and they understand St. Louis families because they are St. Louis families from St. Louis better than anybody else. In this business, there are a lot of out-of-town venture capital type companies coming in because as we have an aging population living longer than ever, senior living properties are definitely needed. So they say, let's get in on that. McKnight Place has been in on it for a very long time, and the in on they've been is taking care of St. Louis families, understanding what makes us tick, what people love about living in St. Louis, and how to bring the best of what we love about living in St. Louis to part of the lived experience at McKnight Place, the Gatesworth, and Park Provence. Start the conversation today. Just hop on, check out the websites for McKnightPlace.com, thegatesworth.com, ParkProvence.com, and then why don't you just write this number down and have the conversation, 314-993-3333.
Hey, St. Louis, temperatures are rising, and if your AC isn't blowing cold enough, trust the experts at AAA Home Services. For 56 years, they've been fixing it right the first time. Our expert technicians are qualified to work on any system with any issue. We can even perform your annual maintenance on your air conditioner before it gets too hot. And if you need an estimate on a new system, we can do that too. For 56 years, St. Louis has trusted AAA for heating and cooling, electrical, plumbing, and appliance repair needs. Call 636-397-3200. Online at AAASTL.com. Call AAA. We're on our way.
All earned income needs to be reported to the IRS, especially extra cash from a side hustle. IRS spokesperson Robin Capehart says there are changes to the form used to declare that income.
The reporting threshold for Form 1099-K has been increased for payments made by third parties from the $600 back to the $20,000, and from no minimum number of transactions to more than 200 transactions.
Those Venmos for repayment or gifts don't have to be reported. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Are you ready for tax season? Don't let the tax changes passed in the Big Beautiful Bill Act catch you off guard. Hi, I'm Jeff Azufal, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group and the author of the #1 best-selling book on taxes, Keep What's Yours, and my soon-to-be-released book, Keeping What's Yours, the Strategic Tax Planning Guide for the One Big Beautiful Bill. Since 1976, Capital Advisory Group has been saving our clients money year after year. Give us a call at 636-394-5524 or online at capitaladvisorygrp.com.
We are here with the man, Ryan Raphael. He's the Medicare man of St. Louis. Ryan, one of the biggest misconceptions about Medicare when people reach the age of 65 is if they don't sign up at age 65, they get penalized.
So really what happens is when people are approaching 65, they get all the literature and things coming at them that looks like they have to do something. If somebody is working, they really do not have to sign up for Medicare as long as they're part of an employer of 20 or more employees and they can take it out down the road and not pay penalties.
So if you're over the age of 65 and you have not signed up for Medicare, there's no penalty. There's no reason why you can't do it at age 65, 66, or 67, or 70.
Correct. Yep.
That is Ryan Raphael. If you're approaching 65 and you have questions about Medicare, he is the man. The Medicare Man, STL.com, 314-368-6808, Ryan Raphael. And if you don't trust me, trust my nanny. My nanny says he's the best. Ryan Raphael, the Medicare Man, MedicareManSTL.com.
You know, that honey-do list isn't getting any shorter, and you got to make a dent into it. Can I recommend going somewhere to helping you out? Schnarr's Hardware. Schnarr's Hardware has 2 locations, one in Webster and one in Ladue. One great family, 2 great hardware stores. Schnarr's Hardware. When you walk in with that list, you say, okay, I think I know how to do this one, but these 3 I need help on. And you know what? The people behind the counter at Schnarr's Hardware, that's what they do best. They have the expertise, so they can help you with electrical, help you with plumbing, painting, really anything at Schnarr's Hardware. They're small, they're compact, but it's that friendly neighborhood hardware store that has been the way it's been here in America for years, right? You remember when your grandfather took you to the hardware store. That's Schnarr's Hardware. The popcorn and the advice are free. So when you go to Schnarr's Hardware, 2 locations in Webster and in Ladue. Don't forget about the website, schnarrshardware.com. So for all of your hardware needs and that honey-do list, Schnarr's Hardware or schnarrshardware.com.
And now, KTRS weather.
We will slip into an active weather pattern later this week. Numerous rounds of rain and thunderstorms on the way. But first, it's back to near record heat again. Mostly sunny, breezy, unseasonably warm this afternoon, up to 86, which would tie today's record from 1986. Partly cloudy, really mild overnight tonight. The Tuesday morning low only 64. And then right back into the 80s again tomorrow. 85 for the high Tuesday. The record right now sits at 87. Spotty showers and thunderstorms Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday morning, with more waves of wet weather to come later in the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers on the Big 550 KTRS.
The Bommarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, see their entire inventory online at bommarito.com.
Want a song?
On my mind like the song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back, Frank and Jill Show. Time check 11:28 on a Monday morning. Very glad you're starting your week out with us. It's Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Connor McCarthy here as well. I have loved this song, Dr. My Eyes by Jackson Browne, for a long time ago, but not too long ago, John sent me this particular version of it, which is done by some music producers during COVID. Started this thing called Music Around the World, where they would take a very well-known song, have the original artist perform segments of it, and then ask incredible musicians around the world to play segments of it and then put it together in something that's just really, it sounds great, but it's also visually very interesting if you look it up and watch the video of it with these singers out in everywhere from the deserts of Africa to the jungles of South America. And so this is the Music Around the World version of Dr. My Eyes, done a couple of years ago. Connor, have you ever watched any of these Music Around the World
I had
videos?
Not. I had not. It's interesting. They keep cutting to where the different people are, though.
Yeah, and it's something that I was reading up about it. It's something that, of course, couldn't have happened even 20 or 25 years ago, because the sound technology has advanced so much that you can just have a pretty decent mic even and be outside somewhere.
You couldn't have like one of the people have like a studio quality sound, and then someone else sounds like they're recording it like on a phone mic in the middle of the beach.
Right. And the other thing is, a lot of these classic songs, the original singers don't sing them in the same keys they did on the recorded versions that we're used to listening to. So they had to kind of get all the musicians on board with that as well. But they have, and it's kind of fun. So I had the experience this year. Many of you guys can relate to this. That I got a letter from our the insurance company saying, "Oh, this is not going to be your prescription provider anymore, and you have to go somewhere else." And then they didn't really tell us where else we were going, and I ended up getting my, like many women of a certain age, I have a patch. I'm patched up every month with the hormone patch, and so I was getting all this conflicting information. I finally got through to the insurance company, and they were like, "Yeah, you just need to go on the portal. You just need to understand how to work the portal. Just understand this." And I was like, "I'm on the portal, and I feel like I need a professional interpreter to help me get through this." And so when I heard Nate Bargatze's piece recently on filling out forms at the doctor's office and how this all works together, I could definitely relate. See what you guys think. Oh, he's so good. By the way, I wanted to use this time to plug, if you ever listen to, or even if you've never listened before, this is a good one to listen to, Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard and Monica Padman, which is one of my kind of go-to when I'm doing nothing else podcast. The most recent interview with Nate Bargatze is really good. Just when you think you can't love him more, and you can't like him more, and can't find him more down to earth, and just seemingly more enamored with his own success and how this is all unfolded, then you hear an interview like this. I mean, it's long. It's like an hour and a half. And
Has his movie come out yet? The one he kind of promoted at the concert?
You're right. He did talk about that.
Yeah,
the television show is out, the quiz show that's coming out, and it's getting some pretty good reviews. I don't know what kind of ratings it's getting, but it seems to be, people say it's for those who like a good game show, it's pretty watchable. I only have watched a little bit of it, and of course Greg Warren is in that as well, and he does a really good job.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a short time out. When we come back, we're going to hash into the Tiger Woods saga with our Legal Eagles segment, the great Travis Noble, next.
Are you retired? Are you thinking about retiring? Who is helping you with retirement? Might be time to check out the show When Retirement Happens, hosted by Kevin Lloyd of Legacy Wealth Advisors. Saturday at 1, Sunday at noon on the Big 550 KTRS.
I've been asked to say a word about Allen Roofing. That's not fair. I can't say it in a word. If they just did roofs, I probably could. I would say roofs. But they can do siding. They could replace it. They could put leaf guards on. They could reattach it like they had to do for me, where my gutter kind of came away from the house. Siding issues, they carry James Hardy, the very best. They can fix that too. Basically, if it's something you could see from the outside of your home or your office, they can fix it, improve it, or replace it. Look, it's probably the biggest investment you're ever going to make. Protect it. Absolutely, and nobody does it better than Allen Roofing. Check out all the reviews online. Everybody else seems to know. I shouldn't have to tell you these things. For all of your roofing needs and so much more, Allen Roofing. Find them online at aroofing.net.
Repairing chimneys, walkways, porches, foundations, entire homes, anything to do with brick or stone, you need a tuck pointer you can trust, and that, of course, is Morelli. Morelli is a family-run business started in 1991, and they're only as good as their last customer. That's why when you check out the reviews online at MorelliTuckPointing.com, you'll notice that they're actual customers who are singing the praises of Morelli. So if you need a tuck pointer, you need Morelli. 314-645-1387 or MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Diana from Newstetter's Fine Jewelers here to remind you, we don't just offer the best pieces, we offer one of the last master hand engravers in our country. My father can create timeless, personal, and unforgettable pieces. Come by our showroom at the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or learn more online at wowdiamonds.com.
You know, that honey-do list isn't getting any shorter, and you got to make a dent into it. Can I recommend going somewhere to helping you out? Schnarr's Hardware. Schnarr's Hardware has 2 locations, one in Webster and one in Ladue. One great family, 2 great hardware stores. Schnarr's Hardware. When you walk in with that list, you say, okay, I think I know how to do this one, but these 3 I need help on. And you know what? The people behind the counter at Schnarr's Hardware, that's what they do best. They have the expertise, so they can help you with electrical, help you with plumbing, painting, really anything at Schnarr's Hardware. They're small, they're compact, but it's that friendly neighborhood hardware store that has been the way it's been here in America for years, right? You remember when your grandfather took you to the hardware store. That's Schnarr's Hardware. The popcorn and the advice are free. So when you go to Schnarr's Hardware, 2 locations in Webster and in Ladue. Don't forget about the website, schnarrshardware.com. So for all of your hardware needs and that honey-do list, Schnarr's Hardware or schnarrshardware.com.
Heidi Glaus, Josh Gilbert, and Bob Ramsey. Weekday afternoons at 3 on the Big 550.
Always current and always on.
KTRS. And now it's time for the Legal Eagle segment with Travis Noble of Travis Noble Attorneys at Law on the Frank and Jill Show from the Big 550 KTRS.
As always, Travis's timing is impeccable. He comes in here a few days after Tiger Woods was arrested for DUI after a rollover crash near his home in Florida on Friday. According to police officials, just before 2 o'clock, his Range Rover was traveling at a high rate of speed on Beach Road in Jupiter when he tried to pass a work truck. Woods' SUV clipped the back of the truck's trailer and flipped on its side. And Travis, I'm sure you've read up on it. Your overview, your first take.
These cases are very difficult for the government usually. Jurors have a hard time sometimes convicting people for driving under the influence of a prescription medication. I've never had one of these cases that I've tried where somebody was convicted because the very specialty areas for police in that they need to bring in what they call a drug recognition expert, a DRE. These are officers that are specially trained on how to detect whether somebody's under the influence of drugs. They have a 12-step protocol that they have to go through, and then they have to categorize it one of 7 categories of drugs. I spoke at a national conference once in Lexington, Kentucky, and there were about 1,000 prosecutors and police officers there. And I told them, I said, it's voodoo. They can't really do what they claim that they can do. I said, and I'm so convinced that I'll give any one of you $1,000 if you can send me a case where a police officer does the 12-step protocol, classifies the 7 category of drugs and says, this is a drug, I think it is. And they do that, you have it in a report before the blood test comes back to confirm. Then if the blood test confirms that, I will send you $1,000, but there's one other catch. The person cannot either have the drug on them or admit to using the drug because they just can't do it. It's very difficult. And I said, there's 1,000 of you guys here in the room, so it cost me $1 million if you all have one. I said, I came back the following year, not one person could send me one. Usually in these cases, they pull a car over and it looks like a Cheech and Chong movie. They roll the windows down, the marijuana smoke comes billowing out of it. Well, they go through the protocol and go, oh, I think it's marijuana. Or, I had a case in Plaza Frontenac, one backs into a car, police show up, they look at it, and they think that she's under the influence of a prescription medication. Oftentimes when police officers pull somebody over, they could tell something's off, but they know it's not alcohol. And so they ask the person, are you on any prescription medication? And the person says, yes, I just had rotator cuff surgery or a meniscus tear, I'm taking Vicodin or oxycodone. And then the officer does their protocol and he goes, oh, I think they're under the influence of Vicodin. Well, duh, they just told you. But
yeah, so if I'm understanding you correctly with my simple mind, it's one of those cases where the regulation of the law is so impractical, there's no way to really actually apply it in situations like this?
Well, the police officer has to really document that kind of case and talk about, the speech, the balance, the reasons they think the person is under the influence of the medication. But the average person thinks, well, my doctor prescribed this to me. They told me to take 1 to 2 every 4 hours as needed for pain. Well, it was killing me, so I took one. I try to explain to people, if we don't want you driving a car at 0.08, which is probably 2.5, 3 glasses of wine, we certainly don't. It's affecting your central nervous system to the point where it's slowing your reaction time just that much. We don't want you driving a car because if a kid runs out in front of you chasing a ball, we want you to be able to stop. Prescription medication, if somebody cut their hand off and they rush to the hospital, they cauterize it and they shoot them full of morphine, they kill the pain and they operate and now this person has got this severe injury. They send you home at some point. If they told you, have 2.5 glasses of wine for the pain, you'd look at them like they were crazy. It's not going to kill the pain. So they give you these opiates, Vicodin, oxycodone, Oxycontin. Those. Well, if that can kill that pain, it's definitely affecting your central nervous system in terms of your reaction times. Much more than alcohol is. I think that, police officers are more and more recognizing the number of people out there on prescription medications.
So do you think he'll end up in jail?
No. I doubt it. I'm not sure who.
It doesn't do any good to incarcerate him.
Well, if it was, the average person, then they may end up in jail. They would talk about that kind of a deal because they know he's got the prior arrest, and so now they're looking at this going, even though the prior was pled down, we know the prosecutor knows he has a prior.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a second offense in effect for making a recommendation, even though if it's charged as a first offense. They're going to be much more harsh on him in terms of a plea bargain. But it's Tiger Woods, so the chances of him probably serving jail time, I doubt it.
And it's one of those cases, I think also, it's easy for us in Travis Noble in our Legal Eagle segment here joining us. We're talking about the Tiger Woods situation. It's easy for us looking from the outside going, yeah, he's already wrecked a car because of DWI that he pled down and said he was going to get help. Then they had the accident in L.A. where I don't think he was charged with anything, but there was suspicions of that he was under the influence at that point. The public might decide this is a 3 strikes and you're out situation, but the law, there's a lot of more technicalities there than most people realize.
Yes. One of the advantages he has is nobody, from what I've read, nobody was injured in the accident other than himself.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a victim, then you have a whole different circumstance at that point because now there's pressure on the prosecutor's office to do something and have some sense of justice in the case.
So what do you think the repercussions are going to be for him if he doesn't go to jail? What happens to him?
I think they're probably going to immediately put him into some sort of rehabilitation program, that he'll, get therapy, all of those kinds of things to talk about why we can assure a judge that this won't happen again. The problem is that, Tiger is battling through all these injuries, like between his back.
He's an orthopedic nightmare.
Right.
But if you're a billionaire and you're taking these meds to help you cope through life, then get a freaking driver, right?
It absolutely amazes me every time I represent a professional athlete or someone who's very wealthy. And I asked them, I had a New York Yankees baseball player once I represented, and I said to him, how do you not have somebody driving you? If you know you're going to go out, you're going to have something to drink or you're going to be on medication, hire a full-time driver. I'm just a lawyer here in St. Louis, and my driver's sitting out in the waiting room right now. He drives me everywhere I go. I don't understand if you have some sense of means why you would not have someone driving you. It just makes no sense.
Travis Noble on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. We're getting some responses, somebody agreeing with you 100%. The labels on the bottles clearly say not to drive while you're taking the medication for at least 24 hours. Somebody else saying they think it's a little bit of a confusing because a lot of the medical bottles say don't operate heavy machinery, but some people think that means forklifts, not cars.
Right. Heavy machinery would be a motor vehicle. And it talks about causing, may cause drowsiness and those types of effects. The bottles are clearly labeled that you should take it, see how you respond to it, and then be cautious if you're operating any. It says heavy equipment usually on there, but that does mean a vehicle.
And he's not going to be able to drive for a significant amount of time, I'm sure, correct?
Well, maybe not. It's interesting. Say, for example, in Missouri, you always if you have a DWI, driving under the influence of alcohol, you have 2 cases. You have the DWI, and then you have the administrative case against the Department of Revenue, where they try to suspend your license for being over 0.08. But there is no correlation to drugs. So the Department of Revenue doesn't get involved in a drug case. It's just the DWI case. If you can plead the DWI down or get some sort of probation, keep it off your record, then you don't lose your license.
Okay, that answers the question. Obviously, we're getting on the text line lots of responses today, but people going, why does he have a driver's license? Wouldn't that solve it? If he didn't have a driver's license, we wouldn't keep getting in his own way or self-sabotaging here. Always good stuff, Travis Noble. It couldn't have been more timely today.
One more. You've brought your lovely bride here today. I'm wondering, when you guys have an argument, who wins? You're very good at winning arguments, but I don't know. I think she may win here. What happens here?
She always wins. Because if we do, start to have a disagreement, which is not often, she'll say to me, "Don't lawyer me."
Been married to a lawyer for 34 years. I think that you were playing that extremely well.
That's great. Good to see you, sir. Good to see all of you. Thanks so much. We'll take a short time out. We'll be right back.
The University of Missouri St. Louis offers academic programs at the undergraduate, graduate, doctoral, and professional levels to fit any passion, purpose, and schedule. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more at more.umsl.edu.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GRAVY25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GRAVY25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GRAVY25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show, this Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fred Birding games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Wake up, it's a brand new day. Getting your weekday started the St. Louis way. It's the McGraw Show.
It's Carl, and Tuesday on the McGraw Show, everyone says that the city's not doing anything to try to improve itself. Wrong. At 9:10, we're going to talk to Emma Clues from Great Rivers Greenway to tell us what improvements the city is making.
McGraw Millhaven, Rose Dalton, and Carl the Intern. Weekday morning, 6 to 10.
Right here on your hometown station, the Big 550 KTRS.
File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
If you guys can hear a little extra spring in my step today, that's because something monumental happened over the weekend. I am done. We are done with our taxes for the year. And why am I so happy about that? Why am I smiling? I made a switch, and Jeff Zufall, team at Capital Advisory Group, did our taxes this year. And we said, we've been frustrated at times with the experience. And I talked to Josh and I talked to Heidi, and they're like, and Josh especially was like, what are you doing? Why aren't you having Jeff do this? And I am so glad we made the switch. It was just positive experience. I mean, who says that about their taxes, that it's a positive experience from the get-go? But it sure was, and particularly because I know from having interviewed Jeff multiple times here and listening, of course, to the show that he does on the weekends here with Josh Gilbert, Keep What's Yours, I just know how backwards, forwards, upside down, up, down, all directions. He understands tax strategy. He understands tax law. He understands how average folks like us want to make sure that we're not overpaying on our taxes so that we are able to, when we reach that season in life, when we're ready to retire, we can do it with confidence and just a lot of eyes wide open to the whole experience. Jeff and his team are simply the best at that. Capital Advisory, grp.com, 636-394-5524.
So we've gotten a couple of texts. One of them, my friend Bob Frischman, he said he read that Tiger will not get a driver's license due to privacy.
Not a driver's license, but a driver to drive them around.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
I'm confusing two of these. Yeah, you're right. He not get a driver due to privacy concerns. And another one says, just take his driver's license away. Well, I guess, do you really need... I mean, where's he going with the driver that he wouldn't want the driver to know?
It seems like a lame excuse, and it seems like somebody who thinks that he's either... It's one of those situations where the behavior is so egregious, it's a cry for help, that the problem is that much worse that he can't apply any logic to the situation. I think anybody would say that that's a red flag for substance use disorder kind of situations where you just can't even think logically through that it's such a stupid decision.
Yeah, and in no way am I rationalizing what he did, but we taped our control option press box with the great Andy Van Slyke today, talking Cardinal baseball. He's the best in the business at talking about Cardinals because he's not employed by the organization, by the way. But he has been what I would describe as an orthopedic nightmare over the last 10 years of his life. I think he said he's up to 16 or 17 surgeries. And, he could understand how a guy like Tiger would just need to go, to have those types of drugs in his body just to relieve the pain temporarily. Now, you can't do that in drive, but, these guys that go through this pain and what they've done to their bodies, and part of it is some of his accidents he's had.
Right. And I will say, it's because the whole Jupiter area is just right really there, and that Jupiter Island is really tight. And so, even that's where, of course, Jane's wedding is going to be in 4 weeks. And we've been there a number of times. And it is like these kind of 2-lane highways. People are kind of going pretty fast. But if somebody stopped in front of you, you're going to wait. There's no way to get around them. So the fact that he thought it was a good idea to try to maneuver around anybody in that situation, I could see where he was sort of asking for trouble. We had a lot of fun last week. No Ordinary Rabbit was in. Of course, Kuna is a big... supplier for the food that they provide in the world. And you're still working on our weekly special for this week?
Yes, we have not finalized yet. O.B. Clark's is a possibility. Dom went in there the other day and he just said, I've never been in here when it hasn't been crowded. I mean, they just do such an unbelievable business. They have the barbecue, OB barbecue. What's the OB?
OBQ.
OBQ, yeah.
And OBQ's is really good.
You've been there.
You still haven't gotten out there yet. But it's kind of surprising that they... Because you joked that, how did these Irish guys make a good pizza? But
now
it's kind of like that with the barbecue. It's like, how do they come up with a good barbecue, too?
Everything they touch turns to gold.
Right. And I think, as we've talked about off the air different times, a lot of people in the world will be like, we're on St. Louis. I want to do some barbecue, too. But there's, not everybody. It's like opening a restaurant in New Orleans. You better be really good at it because you're not going to survive very long. And I feel like that's true with barbecue. And Connor is always going to be a good judge of, he's not going to just say, oh, it's good, even if it's not. And so when he came in and said, it is really good.
You've been there recently?
Haven't been recently, but my opinions, I'm sure, are unchanged.
99% of the time I go out, I go to a St. Louis restaurant. But we had a gift certificate, and I didn't want to go far, so we went to Fleming's because they have a bar that I could watch all the games. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, though, they have a good product. They really do. I mean, that chopped salad is insane.
Isn't it?
Really good. And boy, the little ribeye, it was really good stuff.
So from the 314, I understand an orthopedic nightmare. I also understand not being on narcotics for the remainder of your life. Tiger needs to find something else to deal with the pain. I think that seems to be a lot of people's thoughts on this when it made the news as well.
Well, and that's the mature, proper response to that. That is. But if you can take a little pill and make yourself feel better and you're in dire pain, it's tough to have the restraint not to do it.
Right, but that's why it's so important. And I know I get on this soapbox a lot, but you can be wherever you want on the political spectrum. But when we cut medical funding, including stuff that's happening at WashU in St. Louis for pain management, stuff that's non-narcotic pain management, if we've learned nothing in our country over the last 10 years, it's that narcotics cannot be our only way of helping people with chronic pain long term. And so we need to be looking at alternatives to be able to get people past that, because you can't say this is the drug that will make you feel better than anything else in the world, and that's the only way you get to live not in agony. That's never going to be a good solution.
Right. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the program. What a guest list today with Shalonda Webb, Dan Head, Chris Pronger, and the great Travis Noble. We'll take a break. Mr. Carney's back, right?
Yeah, Carney and Buck back in the house together along with Max.
And we'll be back in 22.
Wake up, it's a brand new day. Getting your weekday started the St. Louis way. It's the McGraw Show.
It's Carl, and Tuesday on the McGraw Show, everyone says that the city's not doing anything to try to improve itself. Wrong. At 9:10, we're going to talk to Emma Clues from Great Rivers Greenway to tell us what improvements the city is making.
McGraw Millhaven, Rose Dalton, and Carl the Intern. Weekday mornings, 6 to 10.
Right here on your hometown station, the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, it's Josh, and I want to tell you about a dentist office, my dentist office, and their new location, now open in Lake St. Louis Dentistry. Dr. Landgraf and the group of dentists have been my dentists my entire life. They've been my parents' dentists for their entire lives, and you don't keep generation after generation of clients unless you're really good at what you do. Now with 3 locations, Florissant, Creve Coeur, and the new one, Lake St. Louis Dentistry, half mile from 4064, and you can get an appointment today.